In this week's episode of the Working with Todoist, I explain all about my Tickler file. Hello and welcome to episode 137 of my Working with Todoist series. My name is Carl Pauline and welcome to a grey Republic of Ireland. As you can see, the weather is not that good. I am many thousands of miles away from my usual studio, so today we're on kind of a outdoor event, I suppose. Anyway, this week's episode is all about my Tickler file. Why am I going to cover my Tickler file again, I hear you ask? Well, the simple reason is I get so many questions about my Tickler file, and I thought it would be a good time to go through exactly why I use it and how I use it. Now, I know the Tickler file is not for everybody, and for those of you who are not familiar with a Tickler file basically is 43, originally was 43 folders that you would separate out into months and numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right up to 31. And every day you would swap it over and it would eventually come to the day of the week that you were on. Quite simple really, but obviously today we live in the digital world, and so I use Todoist as my Tickler file. Now, I know it doesn't work for everybody, and this is certainly not something that, if you're not really comfortable with using it, absolutely fine, no problem at all. But I find it incredibly useful for these little reminders, and I want to show you how I use it. So, before we go any further though, I would just like to say, if you like this video, please click on the like button. I don't know which direction, but please click on the like button below. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please subscribe. Okay, let's get straight into Todoist and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so here is my Tickler file in Todoist, and as you can see from my projects window, it is at the top up here, and I have all my other various projects underneath it. Now I put it at the top. It doesn't matter if you want to use a Tickler file, and I say this is completely optional, but it is such a useful tool for me. So the Tickler file is here up at the top, and I have inside my Tickler file at the moment, I've got 4, but just remind you that I am on holiday at the moment and I haven't really started planning out what I'm going to be doing from the first week of January. There's just a few things in here that's going to get me started once I get back home in Korea. So what we've got up here is my Tickler, and this one here, check above and beyond tour dates. That one's been in my Tickler file for probably about 2 years now, because from time to time, to Above and Beyond, who is my favourite band, by the way, do come to Korea, and I want to know if and when they do come over so that I can actually buy tickets. So I check this every month. Now, as you can see here, this is actually linked to the Above and Beyond tour dates site. So all I have to do when this comes up, which will come up on the 1st of January, as you can see, is click on that, and I can just have a quick look to see if they're coming over to Korea in some time in the next 3 months. Down below that, I've got Get Hair Trimmed. Now I get my hair trimmed by my wife every 2 weeks. And that will come up on the 5th of January, again, once I get back to Korea, because my hair clippers are in Korea. And for those of you who did watch the beginning, you can know I don't have that much hair, so it's not such a big deal. But this will come up every 2 weeks or so onto my to-do list manager. When I get back to Korea, I will restart my diet. It's not often I get the opportunity to eat lots of English foods, so I don't diet at all while I am over here in Ireland with my family. So I will restart my diet once I get back to Korea, which is Monday the 8th of January, although I will get back a few days before then. And of course, I'm going to restart my exercise program on Sunday the 7th of January. Up until between now and then, I'm just going to be ticking over just doing occasional runs or long walks and maybe a few exercises at home. Now, the key to this is that this is actually also connected to my calendar. I have to click on the three dots at the side, click on that, and it will say Project Calendar Feed. If you click on that, it will give you the calendar feed that is required for just this project. Now, I don't want all my to-dos coming up in my calendar because that's what I use my to-do list manager for. All I actually want is my project calendar feed for this particular project, which is my Tickler file. So add task from Tickler to your or someone's calendar. You can actually set it up for somebody else's calendar if you wish. And this will be subscribed to Apple Calendar, because my personal calendar is through Apple Calendar, and then I will copy this to the clipboard. Now, in my calendar, and I'll just use the simple, in fact, I usually use Fantastical, but I'm going to show you this from my, so what we've got here, if I go to the 1st of January, you'll see up here, now on all day, I've got my Tickler above and beyond. So let's cross out that. So Tickler above and beyond on the 1st of January. On the 5th is get hair trimmed. So get hair trimmed is there. And then if we move on, restart diet, restart exercise program, restart diet. And they will come up in my folder. But the beauty of it doing it this way is this calendar is not going to get so untidy with all my tasks. Had I actually gone into settings and used the full calendar feed, it would have caused me all sorts of problems, and I don't want that to happen. Okay, so that's why I use a Tickler file. Now, for guys, I know all of you are going to start asking me questions. Why don't you just put this in your calendar? Why don't you do it this way? Why don't you do it this way? Well, the answer to that question is just because. I read Getting Things Done many years ago, and I had a hybrid system of paper and digital. And I did have a physical Tickler file. When I went 100% digital about 3 or 4 years ago, I decided to carry that forward into my system. Now, it is purely optional. I'm not suggesting that this is something that you will necessarily need. Maybe you don't, and that's perfectly okay. For me, I find it very useful for those little reminders that are maybes. They're not necessary. Well, getting hair trimmed, I would always do, restarting diet and stuff like that, restart exercise program. They're not projects, and they're not really related to any other project that I have. And therefore, I just want these coming up as a reminder on the day that I want to be reminded of. I don't want to have to be thinking about them days in advance because they're not that important. They're not related to any projects, and that's the reason why. But I understand that for many people this isn't for them. That's perfectly okay. I find it useful, so there. Okay, I hope you found this useful. It just remains for me now to wish you all a very happy Christmas if you're celebrating Christmas. I hope you're all having some downtime as we come up to the end of the year, and I just remain to me to wish you all a very relaxing week.